Hey guys! So today I'm feeling chaotic as hell, I'm gonna be very honest. So I'm kinda just gonna be bopping around doing different things. I really just kinda wanna focus and read to you guys this poem I wrote so long ago. It's like going back to old poetry, it's really showing me all that I went through and kinda how I continue to go through similar things. But a little update, yes, there is color in my room, as you can see from my favorite painting over there. It's extremely crooked, so don't judge. I also have my little lamp, and yes, I take Polaroid pictures. This one's kind of odd, but it's like a chimney and different floral stuff going on. Kind of fun, kind of fresh. Honestly, it's just strange, but I enjoy it. Let's see. How are you guys doing? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna start reading and I'll probably put it up somewhere around here just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But here it starts. It's called Sanctuary. Upon cliffside he pondered and contemplated much. Storm shook sea ahead. The shadow's darkness was interrupted only by great falling of lightning. The rocks below tempted and warned. With eyes closed, he jumped. The fall was easy with such a great gravity of mind and body. Waves took him quickly. Tumultuous current embraced his body as consciousness waned. The surface allowed not his breach, but the rocks tore not his body as well. Finally, tide went out as night fell and day rose. Cradled in a multicolored reef, he awoke. A golden pearl flickered like fire on the sea bottom. The need for breath was dire, but he still descended even more to claim such an example of brilliant, lustrous beauty. He stared at the pearl in astonishment. Waiting to secure the treasure, he tossed the gem in his mouth and clamped jaw tight. Still in need of air, he swam to the bright sky above. Just before leaving the sea, the temporal pain of lack of breath subsided. Desire for air and sustenance was no more. The confounded fellow opened his mouth to check for his golden-hued pearl. It was not there, for it had dissolved. A life on the surface was gone now. The depths were a new sanctuary for life. He found great pleasure in traversing the many realms of the sea in both day and night. You should aim to live like this boy. A life of depth of thought is a life greater worth living. So it's obvious kind of this fictional story of this person going underwater or he jumped to the water. Sort of in this huge point of distress, the storm's going on. So the prose poem just sort of starts out as this person, this boy, just very contemplated and damaged by the chaotic element of life. I mean, storm's going crazy, it's very dark, shadows are kind of going over everywhere. It's just a very strange, chaotic time. I feel like this is super relevant for me right now. I'm sort of in this transition point between senior graduating and also jumping in the workforce and having to deal with what I want to do in life, what I want to be in life, and all these sort of things are really just convening together at a chaotic time with COVID and all this other stuff. But he still jumps forward. It's the sort of acceptance of life in a very strange sort of way. I mean, obviously jumping off a cliff is dangerous, so in a way he's accepting danger and the possibility of death as an affirmation of life, or just sort of accepting life as it is. And with that, I think it's quite particular because he wasn't damaged in the fall and no rocks touched him. He wasn't torn up or anything. But he lost consciousness, of course. So in the sort of dark dive, he wasn't there, if you will, mentally. trajectory and the hit on water, like obviously it knocks people unconscious a lot of times, which can be dangerous. So in this case, it did pull him underwater, and a reef sort of collected him and held him, like I said, a cradle almost. But the golden pearl, I won't get too into it just because this is up to you and how you interpret it and stuff like that. But it's more like this, there's something to desire or something to seek. I mean, it's golden, so it has the sort of like success element to it. I mean, gold is sort of like, I mean, the color of gold currency, it's synonymous with success and all these sort of like pleasures and stuff like that. But it's a pearl. It's like, it's an organic element of life, even though it's like a jewel or a gem. But at the same time, it came from an organic creature, like a clam. So it has this sort of, you know, organicity and naturality about it. The sort of treasure, if you will. But he sees it and he goes really into it. So even though like life is super chaotic and he's given this gift of life, he doesn't just instantly return to the surface. He wants to go deeper, not necessarily digging for something, but reaching towards something that's very deep but also alluring. So in my life, it's just sort of, it's a hodgepodge of different things. It's writing and stuff like that. It's like crystals. Oh my gosh, let me show you my crystals. Look at them. These are just like a few of them. I have like a bedside one over there, but yeah. So it could be even something as like minuscule as like a stone, or like, as I put it, the pearl, like the sort of search in life for something. It doesn't have to be this huge grand thing, but obviously we sort of make it out to be in a sort of way. But oh my god, crystal rant, that's funny. Either way, back to like the sort of prose story. As he goes and grabs the pearl, he like puts it in his mouth. I mean, he doesn't really have anywhere else to put it. He just kind of jumped and is scrambling around, very chaotic feeling. I think we've all been there. We just go through about things in life and we grab the opportunities that we have and just kind of put it where we can. So this sort of like is another metaphor for that. And also, when he's going up, he realizes he doesn't have like the temporal pain. So like when you dive for a long period of time and you don't have oxygen, your temples hurt really bad, very excruciating pain. It's your body telling you that you need air, obviously. So it makes you want to go up and get air. But that pain is relieved when he has the pearl. So this sort of desire for surface stuff, or the sort of surface living, if you will, which is literal in this sense, but I mean, of course, figurative as to like just sort of like basic superficial living. I sort of relate it to, it's a type of materialism, but it goes so much deeper than that. Maybe living for a type of joy that isn't very integritous with you and stuff like that. That's just my grasp, but I mean, this isn't like the gospel truth or anything. So yeah, he finds sanctuary in the sea. And sanctuary is a sort of like, and like religion is this place of like worship, and it's also supposed to be this sort of communal learning place. But in this case scenario, it's just like, it's the sea. So that's his sort of learning element, the place where he wants to learn and the place where he dives into. So it has, of course, a little religious connotation, but obviously it doesn't necessarily mean anything religiously. It's just sort of like the metaphor I use. Sanctuary is also like something very personal to you. So like your sanctuary could be like a place in the woods or something like that, or something as monotonous as like one's room could be like a sanctuary for you. But yeah, so in this I like sort of read into like, though life is sort of super chaotic. I mean, for me, I've definitely been living it. You can kind of tell from how I'm talking. I'm pretty scrambled. But yeah, so even though life is very scrambled and chaotic and crazy, there's still purpose that you yourself can define and you yourself can strive for. And that which you go to can be the sort of, it's preferred to be the sort of organic treasure, to me at least, or something that's mirrored within the desire in yourself and stuff like that. To me, that's the sort of golden pearl, but obviously this has a lot of double meanings and things that you yourself can kind of identify with and pick out for yourself, but it's just sort of something I wanted to share. And I remember writing it, it brought me a lot of joy. I remember when it was published in a magazine, for Pegasus magazine. It's kind of my hometown's college magazine. It's small but rather interesting. You should go check it out. Definitely support the literary scenes and small communities. It's much appreciated. I say this and I live in Atlanta. By the way, just kind of go out and search around for fun things like that. Maybe that could be your golden pearl, but either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this, my little rambling, a little like room detour, and of course, some good old literature. But yeah, see you guys.